In this final Eagles video before the 2023 NFL Draft, we're going to take a look at what could somewhat mirror or be similar to the Eagles' actual draft board they're going to use on Thursday for you guys, Friday for me, as well as look at an Eagles-only draft, all 7 rounds, to clue into some moves they might make and look at some of the players that might be available at certain spots, as well as see how they just would overall maneuver from rounds 1 to 7, with, of course, some alterations being made by me. What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back at you with another analysis / mini news video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. And like I said, the article here, Philadelphia Eagles 2023 NFL Draft Board. And Jimmy Kempski, I'm just tired of disrespect. He's going to do something, write something that just, horrible omission. I mean, he did it on purpose, though. But anyways, let's get into the draft board for the Eagles and see what it could kind of look like. So these are the top options, trade-up options. Will Anderson and Jalen Carter. So we obviously believe that Will Anderson is going to go top 5, maybe top 2. He could go to the Texans at number 2 if they issue a quarterback to pick what is seen as the safe option at DN, as well as a player with a high floor, and a stable ceiling. 34 plus sacks in his college career at Alabama. Nice guy, but when he's on the field, he turns it on. Maybe a generational talent at edge rusher, Will Anderson, and Jalen Carter, who seemed to have a boatload of talent, but just the off the field issues, the character concerns that are just the biggest holdup for him. I mean, either of these guys, if Jalen Carter goes top 5, we don't try and budge for him. But if he's available at 6 to 8, we're gonna maybe try and swing a trade for him. I just think that's a dumb move to compromise your draft capital. You're gonna have to maybe give up a 2 or 3, and definitely Howie isn't gonna want to dip into his future picks fund, because next year, let's just say we trade a second rounder that would be worth only a third rounder, but it's gets marked up around, or you could say docked around that surcharge there. So it just the future picks would be seen as less valuable to teams. That's how they operate, not how it operates, but we have to go with the rules of the jungle if you want to survive. But yeah, it's just not worth it. I believe it would limit us even further in this draft, and I don't want this draft to be about 2 players. People said that on on people's certain people's videos, and just 2 players, that's it. This is not gonna be the Ricky Williams draft, trading a whole compromising a whole selection process to just to get two or 3 top-notch players. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, because there's gonna be plenty of talent available, and for you to give those away, or say you're basically saying that the other guys don't matter, bringing them in. We're not a perfect roster. We could still use some alterations and use especially some key depth at a number of positions. Yeah, some starters as well if they're available, or guys that we can develop. But you're not gonna have the option if you give away basically your draft here. So I mean, I don't think they're gonna be available when we pick at 10. And I don't think it's smart to trade up for Jalen Carter, because there's no guarantee you get him. And then if you trade it up, you could get assets by trading back. I would go more so argue to go with that route. But yeah, I mean, that's just me. All right, stick at 10 and pick. Stick and pick at 10. I'm like, whatever. Tyree Wilson, I don't think he's gonna be available. So let me be honest. I don't think he's probably gonna go to the Seahawks. I would say his floor is the Falcons. They're not gonna let him get past 8. I don't think they draft Bijan, even though they of course have interest. They compare him with the guy they got last year. I think it's 6th round pick. Who had 1,000 yards rushing for them. That would be a good tandem, but it's not a need, and they have needs all across the board on their both sides of the line in the secondary. So I mean, yeah, to start with, yeah, I think that's just a no-go starter. Nolan Smith too early. Paris Johnson we could, but that would more so be for the for next year. And yeah, we could say it'd be about depth, but then if it's a depth play, just wait until later in the draft. You have the best O-line coach in the league, Jeff Stoutland. Let him pick out a guy. You have a slew of guys that he wants and he wants to work with. Have him mold and shape those guys. Blake Freeland could be an option later in the draft, especially if you pick up some middle round picks. Christian Gonzalez, like I said, this draft is rich in corners. Have like I think 13 or so, 13 or 15 corners that have at least a third round grade, which is a starter. Draft one of those guys, and like I said, get those middle rounds, and maybe third, fourth round pick. So the way this draft is going, some people's draft value is going to be inflated because of lack and feast at some positions, and with that famine at the other ones, you're gonna have those leftovers that are gonna be hella good when you put them in the microwave and make those selections. Not even gonna take long to heat them up. All right, so yeah, I mean that he doesn't have Bijan here, which is for me, he doesn't even consider it an option. I mean, if like Joey Shakes 72 said, if they draft Bijan, you ain't gonna never hear the end of that shit from me. Well, I'm gonna let y'all motherfuckers know you were fucking wrong. I mean, I have to. All right, the next group of guys, let's see here. Trade back from 10 or up from 30. This is a good mix, and these are still borderline first rounders. I would say also you can put Bijan here because you could trade back for him theoretically, but the problem is with the Titans, I don't think they would take him. I mean, they just have too many other issues. Number 12, the Texans. No, they're not going to take him as well. They have other a myriad of issues that they need to draft and also surround their new quarterback if they draft, or if they don't, they might get him at 12. One of the guys that is not secondary option for other teams that not seen as number 1 or number 2, Bryce Young and then CJ Stroud. They could go that route. Number 13, I think it's the Green Bay Packers. Well, now it's the Jets. No, now it's the Packers. It's one of those two teams. I forget. It's the Green Bay Packers now because they traded with the Jets. They're not going to draft Bijan. They have Aaron Jones. Number 14, the Patriots. They could select him. Number 15, I forget who it is. I know they could select him. Number 16. Yeah, those two teams, they could have selected him. Washington, they could select him. They already have, a nice back, Brian Robertson, third-round pick, who could be they're seen as the future. And then another guy they invested a third-round pick in, I think, the year before. So, I mean, you don't want to risk it. I would just say draft Bijan there at 10. Or if you get a small trade down to number 12. But, where is the need coming from? Guys want to trade up. There has to be a reason why they're doing so. Ergo, the smoke screens that we're seeing and stuff like that. So, it's it's a muddy picture because there's so many. It's contingent on so many pieces falling into place. And if those don't, then the other realities come into vision. Visions come into rally, and that'll snap because it changes. One thing changes another, which is just a domino effect. So there's so many things that hinge on other things happening. Broderick Jones could be an option, but you don't want to draft for depth. This is higher up. Devin Witherspoon could be, but he's not going to be a starter, so that would just be a luxury for now. Peter Skoronski has the versatility, but is he seen as as the best tackle? And we, like I said, we could play him at guard, but we have Cam Jurgens, and it just makes sense to get in depth, bring in behind to buttress those starters and not panic. You want an impact player with that number 10 pick, or if you trade down 11, 12, 13, or whatever it is. Jackson Smith-Njigba doesn't really do that much. Learning curve at receiver. And we have Quez, and we brought another receiver, so it doesn't make sense. Joey Porter Jr., sure, but like I said, he's not going to see the field like the other corners. Lucas Van Ness, overdraft. He's limited. He could have stayed in college another year and learned more pass rush moves. He's a bull rusher at this point, and just you can get him later. Trade down and get him if you want him, but I don't even. There's so many other guys that I think have more potential than him. Deonte Banks, sure, later, but same thing with other corners. So, there's a glut right there. And, yeah, man, pick number 30. This might be where we stop things at. Brian Branch, I wouldn't be mad at that pick. Addresses a need definitely for the future as well, because we brought in a lot of guys on one-year deals. And beyond this year, who we're going to pair if we keep, let's just say we keep Reed at one spot. we're going to pair him with beyond this year. Bijan Robinson, he's not going to be available there. Like, he's not going to be at number 30. I mean, the way he's just underselling him, just like, it just pisses me off. Brian Breesy, sure, but it's a lot of potential. He's more like a second round pick for me. Jalen Hyatt could be, but I think he goes late first round. He could be probably had in also the beginning of the second round, so maybe trade down and get him if you want him. But like I said, he's a luxury with, I don't think we need such a high priced premium player with 30th pick being a first round pick. That's going to sit on the bench for the majority of the time. If you want to get depth, wait till later. Kalijah Cansey, that could be a fair option, but I think he goes earlier than this. Trenton Simpson, too early for a linebacker when we brought into this offseason, and it doesn't fit with our mold of. I mean, he is a dynamic player. Don't get me wrong, but if he's there in the second round, and I think if we have line things up, yeah, but I think he goes before we have a chance. Myles Murphy would be great value. I wouldn't have a problem with that pick at all. I think this is where we might stop it. We'll start after this. Trade back from 30. So he's a borderline second round guy. Well, actually, you know what? Let's stop here because actually I think a lot of these guys. I mean, I would say Emmanuel Forbes. I think he sneaks into the first round. But we're not if we're not going to draft the first or second or third best corner, why draft the fifth or sixth? And he has the size issues. Guys that we'll cover, but that could sneak into the bottom of the first round. Will McDonald could. Dawan Jones could. I mean, Felix could. Mozzie Smith could. Jamar Gibbs definitely could. Drew Sanders, I don't think he, second rounder. Keely Ringo could. But we're going to address these guys later. Post a mix of post-draft first day and then maybe post-draft second day as well. To see who's on and off the board. So we're going to use some of these lists to check to see what talent is available. But anyways, interesting article. But I really don't like this guy's perspective as far as when it comes to Bijan. He just hates. You don't see the vision. Get with it. All right. The Eagles' final 7-round mock draft. We're going to look at this more so than looking at the players, looking at the moves, and looking at what can be had and what's available at that point, what's realistically available. So round 1, pick 7, trade with the Raiders. It's just a bad trade. We have to give up a second round pick. We're already limited on picks this year, and you really want to buttress this roster with the holes. I mean, we have too many to fill, and pick 2 is still a starter, and you're giving up that for one player. I don't think he's that. We gave up 4th and 5th last year, and maybe a futures pick or something. I forget. I have to look at the Jordan Davis trade again, but 4th and 5th, those are gambles. So I mean, a 3rd, 4th, 5th. I mean, the 3rd, I can't say it's borderline acceptable. But yeah, it's just too much for him. I just don't put a premium on him. Even if he's the next Fletcher Cox, what did defense get us in the Super Bowl? Make this offense unstoppable, and then build up defense as best you can. And you don't need a Jalen Carter for that specifically. Yeah, man, it's I don't know. It's just too much of the onus being put on him when he's going to be a rotational player. He's not even going to be a starter this year. At least Will Anderson, you're getting a starter this year. You can put Brandon Graham behind him. With Carter, he's just, and it's a concern. It's is his motor going to run high enough and all that stuff to validate this pick? I just don't see it, to be honest. Yeah, like I said, it's just too much when you could trade down and, like I said, a little bit, and pick Bijan, or just stay there and pick Bijan, and you're not losing out on a number 2 pick. All right, trade with the Titans. I'm not opposed with this, but I would want another trade partner to get around 35 at least. 38 would be the very the farthest I would want to go, because there's 41. They're gonna pick. They're gonna pick a player that we want, even though we get number 72 and you can trade that down further to, you get to like 4 to 5, to switch for some people. Excellent idea. Not a bad idea. But I wouldn't be opposed to getting a little bit higher. Or I'd say lower, 30, 35, 36, and getting a fourth and fifth, fourth and seventh, or fourth and sixth, getting a multitude of picks in those lower rounds to supplement our lack of there. So, and then pick number 41, drafting Trenton Simpson. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Even though he's a pass rusher, cover linebacker, great, for the future and everything. I just don't see us putting a premium on linebackers this year. If we did it, I'd be happy. Don't get me wrong. I'd be happy. I just don't see how we doing it. It doesn't fit with the philosophy. And like people, you could say the same about Bijan, but it's not like this guy is a generational talent. He's pretty good, but I would see like more so like if it was a third rounder, yeah, sure. But with us being burned by the Colorado linebacker we drafted in the second round, man, in the third round, linebacker we spent pick on just didn't make an impact as well. Both those guys are special teams guys, and that's like a shame for your second and third round picks. So, and Cam Smith, simple. He's not going to be available at round 3. He's going to go, I think, in the top, or at the very least the middle of the second round. He's one of those corners on the borderline. He's big enough, tall enough. And I think actually coming into last year, he was a second or number 1 rated corner, and then he just dropped after having like an injury plagued year, and then having a little bit of slow production. But the athletic traits are there. The guy's talented, but we're not giving due credit to his talent here. He's gonna go higher, way higher than that. And then pick number 94, trade with the Bears. That wouldn't be that bad of an idea. Like I like the idea here, picking up multiple picks, and especially if there's not a guy that we like there specifically that we're hung up on, or the guy we trade back for can be there's a glut of guys that we trade back and they can be had at those picks, because like in the middle rounds, this draft is rich in talent on both sides of the football. There's going to be guys that drafted in those rounds who become future starters, maybe some even immediate starters, and outplay their counterparts in the first, second, and third rounds, the first and second days of the draft. So very good value. I like this one here, Wanya Morris. Very good. See, this is why I'm like, I don't think we should go with the O-lineman. I mean, he can be a swing tackle. And what do you call it? He has a good size, good physical tools. Let Stoutland come in and let him come in and let Stoutland mold and shape him, and we're good to go. So I mean, like I said, in these lower rounds, there's some guys that we can work with. You don't need a star to come in. All we need is filler for this year, and then next year, if you want to draft a tackle of the future, guard of the future, do that. It doesn't have to be. We don't need to get everything this year. We need to get what we need to get to get us to the Super Bowl. Worry about that after. That should be the forethought. I love this pick here, Daniel Scott, an athlete, good production, 4th round. I mean, great. Like I said, he could be a future starter for us, as well as this guy. Maybe could be borderline starter, but at the very least, a swing tackle. So we're getting great value here. What more could you ask for? Especially if we don't go like put a premium on a safety, immediate / high caliber guy in the second or third round. So I mean, this would be a good option for him to sit and learn. Hey, that's what these 1-year deals allow you to do. Bring in guys, let them sit and saturate, be a sponge, and then the next year they can play key snaps for you. So like what we did last year, Jordan Davis, second round with Cam Jurgens, and third round with Nakobe Dean. All 3 of those guys are going to be counted on at the very least for significant snaps this year. Nakobe Dean's going to be a starter, and Cam Jurgens going to be a starter, not even at his original position, but that's just the forethought of drafting him. we can slot him in at right guard, which isn't too different from center. It's, interior lineman position, and he can get playing experience this year and then slide in most likely next year when Jason Kelsey retires. So, I mean, excellent forethought in drafting there. Yeah, so let's look at round 7. I don't know if he makes it this far, but that would be a great pickup for us. Give us a cheap number 2 to draft and develop, and he's actually faster than Hurts, so he has the same playing style. Learn from Mariota this year, and then carry that into the future. Be a cheap option for us, and we just continue trying to be that quarterback factory. Hopefully trade him away in the future after his rookie deal is expired. So we'll continue that assembly line. This pick I hate because we have Bijan, and he's a slow guy. No receiving chops. 19 career college receptions. Can he do it? And he's good. Turning 25 in September. Fuck that. No. I like some of the insight here for the priority free agents that are going to be available after the draft. Jaquan Amos, talented guy, safety corner hybrid, maybe could play the slot. Standout Villanova, local guy. Had him on the radar before. PJ Mustipher could be a good backup for Jordan Davis, 6'4", 320, run stuffing guy. ACL tear, so his value is kind of a ding, and we love guys who we can get at a premium when they're talented. It comes at a discount. Junior Fejeco, smaller school guy, San Jose State. I think still a D1 school, but not premium league. Good production, 16 sacks over the last 2 years. Ochan Mathis, Edge, Nebraska. You like the production in 2020. We'll see. I don't know anything about him. Good length though. That's a good starter. See what he can do. Just bring these guys into camp. Let's see about this guy here. Kendall Williamson, safety, 6'1", 202, ran a 4.44. The Richardson package quarterback. Great numbers. Just see if he can come in and play. These guys are often put in the on the back burner, seen as an afterthought. But man, a lot of teams, Pacheco, 7th round pick last year, started in the Super Bowl. You find your stars and you really make a roster when you have a quarterback on a big deal like Jalen Hurts is now and Patrick Mahomes was. With these type of guys, scouting matters. All right, Spencer Wage, D tackle out of North Dakota State. I love this 6'5", 295, 9 sacks, great production. See what he can do. See if he can acclimate to it, jump and talent level. And then I love a punter here. I'm not gonna say much about him, but bring him in. I don't care if he is 30, man. We need somebody to compete with Aaron Sipos. So that's it for this draft, Eagles only draft. Let's look at some news around the league, and then we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Let's see here. So the new head coach of the Panthers, former offensive coordinator for the Eagles, Frank Reich, and former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, says we have a consensus for a top pick. You better. If you didn't, you're in trouble. So they better have their guy. If not, you're still waffling this late in the process, you're cooked. Let's see. GM Rogers trade store for Jets. Great for Wilson. Let's be honest, man. You're just talking up Wilson maybe so he can have some trade value in the offseason or whenever his contract expires. He'd be smart to learn from Aaron, but let's just be honest. Aaron's not going to come in and do him any favors. He doesn't care about the kid. You can care about him somewhat, but he's there to try to win championships. Forget your fucking progress. You're yourself over. Could have been the starting quarterback, but good for the team, not good for you. So you chose that though. The Bengals pick up Joe Burrow's option as a mechanical step. That was just a foregone conclusion. Of course they're gonna do it. It's cheap, allows them to build upon that year, and then if it's a backup plan if they don't sign him this year to a mega deal. But just smart because the more you wait, the greater the pile of money grows that you're gonna have to offload onto the guy. And the last thing we'll look at here, Bijan likes Philly. So he was asked by I think ESPN, NFL Live, what's the quarterback that you want to play with, and you can exclude Mahomes. I think even if they would have, not included the caveat if you can't name Patrick Mahomes, he would have said, because he answered rapid fire like that, Jalen Hurts. So he wants to be behind Jalen, pause, next to Jalen, pause, receiving the ball from Jalen, pause, having Jalen put it into his chest. Okay, sorry. Couldn't help it. But yeah, he thinks a lot. They have the same agent, Lynn, who signed Jalen to this, the biggest deal ever signed by a female in sports. So that's history right there. And they both have the same mentality. They both work hard. Both have that, that genius work ethic. And I mean, you want more guys like Jalen Hurts in your roster. This is a guy just like him in the mold of a running back who also can be a receiver, who helps us with, multiple things on offense, being one of them. So, I mean, I can't help but cheese, man. I really hope we get him. But, man, this is going to be the last time I talk about the Eagles purely before the draft. So, anyways, we're getting up out of here. You're not even watching, though, so it's all good. But, anyways, as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go! Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.